views expressed on this program are not those of intellectualradio.com, its subsidiaries, or sponsors. Encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady Rochelle.
Hello, welcome to Warriors Talk with Lady Rochelle, where we are moving away from awareness towards action. Go ahead and grab your water, your teas, and if need be, grab your journals because tonight we're having a real conversation. Our topic: when does an age gap become a red flag? Now, listen, tonight's show may be a little uncomfortable, but uncomfortable conversation are the ones that change lives. So, I have been reading Brandy's new book called Phases. And in her new book, she talks about being 16 years old and in a relationship with Wanye Morris from Boys to Men, who was 21 years old at the time. Now, back then, some people normalized it, but today we're asking the deeper questions. Was it love or was there a power imbalance? Was she mature or was she still a child navigating an adult situation? Before we dive into our conversation, on the last episode of Warriors Talk, we talked about women's health and why they don't take us seriously. You can head on over to YouTube and type in Intellectual Radio and stay connected for any episodes you may have missed. The National Breast Cancer Coalition will be hosting their annual Advocate Leadership Summit taking place April the 25th through the 27th in Washington, D.C., and Lobby Day will be on April the 28th. This is the Advocate Leadership Summit, their premier event that brings together advocates from across the United States and around the world. The summit is more than a conference, but it's a movement. Each year, women and men affected by breast cancer gather together and we strengthen our voices, we expand our knowledge, and we take collective action to end breast cancer. You can go to stopbreastcancer.org for more information. And if you are tuned in on any form of social media, like the show, share the show, and invite someone else in on the show that you feel may benefit from this valuable information. I'm so grateful for my sponsor on today. We have Pastor Michael Richardson with the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ, who has a special message for us.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
And we're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live at Emmanuel Kojic at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view our videos on our YouTube channel at Emmanuel Kojic-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson. And we're from the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
Co-hosting with me today is none other than the cancer activist, motivational speaker, and the founder of the Gal Foundation, Resolve Gilmore, aka the topic is: when does an age gap become a red flag? And we're talking about the book Phases, is where the topic came from. Brandy sharing her story as it relates to her being in a relationship at the age of 16 with 21-year-old Wanye Morris from Boys to Men.
That's really not a bad age difference. I mean, maybe because she was 16. Feedback. I think I'm probably too close to my phone. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just muted myself just in case it's me. Go ahead.
Okay. um, Honestly, this to me seemed like a double standard because I can remember myself being like 19 dating 36 and 39-year-old women. So if that's the case, were they robbing the cradle also? I mean, even at 16.
Well, they talk about like life stages that you're in, right? When it comes to relationships. So at that point in time, if you're 19 and you're dating a 36-year-old, that means y'all in different life stages, right? You're still developing. We know it's scientifically proven that men, when it comes to your brain development, it doesn't fully develop until you're like 25 to where you're at the point to where you can really make, decisions that make sense, I would say. So you wasn't ready. I would say you wasn't ready. At 19, you're not ready to date a 36-year-old, 39-year-old. They're in a different total different place than you are.
Well, I think the same thing. Well, again, I don't think that was like such a big difference. There's definitely things that Wanye could not do with her. Um, Him being 21, she's 16. She ain't getting, well, but it's different when it comes to entertainers. But if they were living regular lives, she wasn't drinking. She wasn't getting into clubs and parties because she was underage. So that right there, again, yeah, that right there alone would just kind of like turn me off to say, you know what? I don't think this is going to work out.
But why would we say it's different because she's an entertainer? She's still 16-year-old dating a grown man who's 21.
Because I've been in clubs where entertainers who are not supposed to be in there are in the club. So for entertainers, it's a little bit different. I have partied with uh what's the name, with a bunch of ones who were way underage, 16, like Brandy's age back then. 16, like, okay, well, hey, they in there, they can, those are things they can get away with just because of who they are and their status.
But just because they're in the club and they may have been performing, they're still legal by birth. Their age is still 16, which they're not experience wise. They may be experiencing a grown up life, but their mind is still functioning as a 16-year-old in an adult world. Again, the life stages, you're still in different stages from a 21-year-old who's been there, done that, and now you see this 16-year-old who may be fascinated by you and what's going on and maybe what you could do for them. And I don't think it makes a difference whether you in entertainment or not. 16, a child is a child, a grown-up is a grown-up.
I think Wanye was still living out his royal oats at that time at 21. He really wasn't, that's probably why he ended up where he was with the other woman, because of the age gap, the difference, the maturity, it's definitely a lot different because I've, talked to girls that was younger than me, and there are a lot of things where they can't relate to what I'm trying to say or express, or where I've been, or what I've seen, or what I've heard. It's funny. Somebody had an egg, scrambled it was in the pan laying flat, and they said this is not an egg. But if you came from that era, that egg represented this is your brains on drugs. And that's what remembered. That's what, I remembered it being, and that's what it was. But somebody who's young, who's underage, is not going to know anything about that. So it's kind of hard to have them relate. And that would definitely make me uncomfortable. And I wouldn't say that would draw a red flag, but it definitely would make me uncomfortable because I may really like this person and want to see, hey, can it work, or can we have it work out for us? But at some point, you got to, some women, they've seen a lot early in age, so they can relate. But others, mm, no.
They can relate, but it doesn't mean that they're emotionally, psychologically ready to take on an adult relationship. And just because something is acceptable doesn't mean that it's healthy. We've heard that song Resolve with Aaliyah.
Mm,
Age
yeah,
ain't
it's
nothing
ain't
but a
nothing but a
number.
number. Mm, yeah.
And we saw the trauma that she went through as a result of her dealing with someone who was, I think she was 15 and R. Kelly was 27.
And she also was dating Jay-Z. I don't know what age they were at
Allegedly.
that. I think she was like, I can't remember what age they were, but yeah, she was dating Jay-Z too.
And I think about, just because I know a little bit about Aaliyah's story as well. And I know that her parents kind of like signed her over to R. Kelly so that he could do the same thing, would mentor her. And I don't know if they really understood that, yeah, he can mentor her, but he's still, he's a man. He's 27, she's a growing girl, that there's a possibility that he can look at her differently and something else can come of this. I don't know if they really thought about it, or were they desperate enough to be like, we just want we want our baby to make it. We know that if she's under his wing, whatever happened, pray that it don't happen. But we know what the outcome is going to be is her being a star.
Yeah. Part two of what you just said. They was probably pushing her along, signing her off, hoping that she make it because all they seen was dollar signs like, "Who our baby make it, then we gonna be set." So yeah, Mr. Robert Kelly had a whole different agenda that they didn't realize.
Even so, I mean, there was proof that they ended up getting married. And you think about it, what does a 27-year-old have in common with a 15-year-old?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
I'm almost double your age. What do you have in common with me?
Yeah. What have you seen that you can teach me at 15 years old? You're probably just beginning to get out the house. you know, like I'm 27. Shoot, I'm at a prime right there at 27. Shoot, I'm in the streets hard. and and R. Kelly really was just, just hitting. I don't know. At 27, he was still with who was his group? Was it Public Announcement? I think. Um, if he was still with them, or did he separate by that time and just went, R. Kelly or whatever? But yeah, when he went just R. Kelly, forget about it.
Yeah, I think it's part of it is about control, right? Um, her having access to whatever it was that the parents felt that he had opportunity, looking at it that way and not really knowing what type of impact or future trauma that it would have on this individual?
No, they didn't, because they wasn't looking at the long term. They was looking at, look, we just got to get her out there, get her put on, and then we'll be set. They wasn't looking at, the future. They was looking at the present, like, look, this is our cash cow. If we can get our baby out there and get with R. Kelly, she's going to be a star. She's going to be big, bright lights, stage performances, everything, everywhere. And they got caught up with the glitz and glam, and these kind of things happen.
I know Brandy talked about how once they started dating, that Wanye became like critical of her voice and will often compare her to like other singers, making her like second guess herself or feel insecure. And she felt like it was a way to kind of control her or keep her kind of contained in a way. And at 16, you still trying to find yourself. You barely like yourself. You looking in the mirror like you find all kind of things wrong with you. You know, you haven't really come into yourself yet. As my girls would say, you haven't had a glow up yet. You waiting to have your glow up. And while I'm waiting to have my glow up, I have this grown man who's beating down my self esteem and doing it in a strategic way that's manipulative and having me, question myself and not like myself and hanging on to his every word. Because she mentioned she started feeling dependent on him and what he would say and how he would make her feel. That's a great question. Where? Because she in the book, she early in the book, she talked about her dad and how he played a very significant role in her life, being there, guiding her. He was the reason why she got into music and reason why she was doing what she was doing, is because he was the minister of music at his church, so he was teaching her, how to sing, how to direct, how to have an ear for music, and so her parents were very present in her life. And I know someone said they nicknamed her mom because her mom became her manager, her momager, and they nicknamed her mom the bitch because of the way she operated and she didn't take no mess. So when you have parents around you like that, it's like, okay, how did he slipped past them and they not know what was happening? Now, Brandy did say that she kept their relationship a secret. Now, the mom introduced them because she knew that he would be able to mentor Brandy and take her career to another level, right? Because she ended up being their opening act on their tour and everything. So,
It had a little elements of the R. Kelly, Aaliyah type
yes,
relationship.
absolutely. He ended up helping her get the TV show, and him and his mom wrote the theme song to her TV show. So he was very much present, throughout the beginning of her career, molding it, shaping it. So, and the mom was right. I want to say she was right there, but Brandy did say, and people said she was covering up for her mom. But Brandy did say that they didn't say anything to the mom. She denied it because they didn't want to tell people they were dating until she got 18 because they knew she was underage, him and her, and they didn't want to, I guess, feel the backlash from people.
Oh, absolutely. They kept that. She kept that on the low. Man, her mother and father would told her, we got to stop this right now. If they would have knew what was going on right under their nose, yeah, that probably wouldn't have flew. So she definitely kept that hidden, as any child would, because as she said, she thought she was in love. So when you in love, you going to find yourself doing certain things that you never thought that you was doing, and hiding a relationship is going to be one of them.
When it comes to an age gap, what is too much? What age gap is too much?
So I look at it like this. I look at my parents. My parents was 10 years apart. So, and they made it work. My father was the oldest, my mother was younger. And I said, well, if they can make it younger, then I'm gonna put my age gap around, you know, when I was out there dating, I'm gonna put my age gap around there. So if I'm 40, then I would think about maybe, I wouldn't go lower than 30, but I still wanted somebody that's close to me, at least about 35. I would go 5 years below and 5 years ahead. So that would cover to me, that would cover my 10-year span from 35 to 45. So anything below that, ooh, you had to be good. You had to be I had to be really into you for me to go way below that. Just because of those things that I mentioned before about the relating and understanding and oof, like the young girl ain't gonna understand these back pains and these knee problems and all this stuff was happening until they get to that age. It's like our parents used to complain about this and that. And we was like, oh, thought they old now. Now we're them. And now I see exactly what they was talking about. Lord.
I think about my daughters, and if my daughter was 16-year-old and she brought a 21-year-old man home, I'd be like, hell no. No. First of all, you've been out there dipping in any and everybody, and then you think you about to take my baby's virginity? No. I will break it down to my daughters, and I have broken it down to them. Let me just tell you what the game is, okay? You're 16, he's in his 20s. The only thing he wants from you is sex. The only thing he wants from you is sex. At 21 and you're 16, there's no way he sees something in you that he loves, that he got to have, that you're his soulmate. He wants sex. And that's all he wants. He wants it any which way but loose. And when he's done, this is how it's going to work out. I'm going to tell you exactly how it's going to work out. And you can mark it to the date that I tell you. The minute you give him the sex, he's going to try every position that he can with you. And when he's done doing that, he's done. He's going to move on to the next person. That may take 2, 3 months at tops, maybe, depending on how often y'all seeing each other. And then he's going to be on to the next prey. Mark my word. Look at your friends in school that have already given up their virginity. Yeah, when you first give it up, y'all stuck together like glue. It's fresh. Yeah, how many ways can I get it? When he's done getting it every which way but loose, he's on to his next prey. Look at your friends. And they looked at their friends and they see, oh yeah, ma, I see what you're talking about. At that age, a 21-year-old and a 16-year-old, no, absolutely not. He only wants sex from you. And trust me, he's been dipping his little wiener in other things. And unless you want to have a soul tie with everybody he's done dip with, then leave it alone.
Hmm, hmm. Well, I must have been good because my wife was a virgin and we met in high school and we ended up getting married. So I guess I must be one out of a million or something because I think she was 15 and I was 16. I mean, we was a year apart, but we're still kids. I was definitely more advanced because I was 16 and a senior. When I got in college, I was 16, going on 17. She was 15 and a freshman in high school. But again, for some reason, always said that, God had me go there for whatever reason. Maybe it was to, to meet her and knew that I would be the one to take care of her for the rest of her life. Because after all that, we ended up getting married after, years, and we stuck it out and made it through. So yeah, yeah.
I think we need to be honest with our even boys too. I would hate to see, and it may for a boy they could be taken advantage of too. You 16 years old and a 21-year-old woman wants to have sex with what is going through your mind at 21 that you would want a 16-year-old? Like seriously, like something is not developed in you all the way that you would be wanting someone else's child to try.
Because that's even hearing it now, even I'm the age that I am, the girls say you don't look like what you say that you are. So a lot of women back then, even though you were 16 and they was 21 or whatever the case, you could have been in the gym early. You might not have looked like you were 16 years old. So that right there will give you a pass. Like it's women now, like, wow, you don't look like, the age that you say that you are. So it just automatically like, well, they're that age, but bam, look at them. They look good, body still beautiful. No, I'll still take that. There's a lot of I'll be showing some of the guys at the job, women who's up in their 60s, and they're putting some of these girls that's 25 to shame. And they're like, wow. So yeah, I guess sometimes in certain cases, certain situations, certain people, age ain't nothing but a number.
Yeah, it's really sad. I think about some of the examples. We talked about R. Kelly and Aaliyah. We could talk about Kylie Jenner and Tigger. She was 16, he was 24. We could talk about Priscilla Presley and Elvis. She was 14.
Too,
And he
you
was
could talk about Diddy
55.
and Cassie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could talk about Diddy and Cassie.
Celine Dion and Renee. She was 12 and he was 30.
I don't
I think
know
Mariah
what
Carey was 19 and her Tony Batola, whatever his name is, he was older.
I really sometimes don't get what these men see or would want with a girl who is that age. I would want somebody that's, like equal or at least damn near close to where I am. Nothing because at 12 and 14, like you got to take care of them. They don't know anything. Shoot, they just learning how to wash clothes. Like, what are you getting out of the whole thing? And even if you are just wanting sex, you're the first part. They're not like a seasoned partner. They don't exactly know just, like really how to what turns them on.
It's about control. They have more experience than you, then they can influence you on what to do, how to do it. They're not going to know if you're a horrible lover because they don't have nothing to compare with. Did you go be with a grown woman? She's like, what the hell?
See there? Experience has always been a good teacher for me.
So you get with somebody younger, and it's like, okay, you can manipulate their mind into thinking how you want them to think. They don't know because they don't have nothing to compare it to.
That's too
They're
much work. That's too much work. But
and it's
I
called
guess it did
grooming.
work.
Yeah, a lot of people, some people groom their partners you to do what it is that they want you to do and how they want you to act.
Yeah, but like you said, that becomes controlling. And I'm sure at some point, if you don't do what they say, it becomes abuse. Because I'm sure at that person is taking care of everything and you're not doing what they want, then you're getting a freaking black eye every other night or whatever the case. So, yeah.
Which leads us to the negative consequences of age gaps. And we're talking about like teens, someone who's in their teens and 21 plus. I'm not talking about like an older couple, you 40, he's 60, or you 30 and he 50. We're talking about somebody who's a teenager and you're dating someone 21 years plus. So these are some of the negative consequences, and we've covered some of them. One of them would be the power imbalance. There is a power imbalance when it comes to someone who's older and you're dating someone who's younger. You're an older person who has experienced life. You have 9 times out of 10 financially you're going to be more stable. You should be, and emotionally you'll be able to influence them and manipulate them. And at first, it may not look like manipulation. It may look like, oh wow, he cares about me, he's protecting me, or she's, until you realize that no, that's not healthy.
What's the saying? Wait a minute. You don't know. Well, basically, you're going to be learning. Now I see it says your mic is muted. Oh, it says unmuted your mic. Wait a minute. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm still on the phone. Um, okay, so we're talking about power imbalance because I forgot what I was saying. Um, yeah, yeah. I agree with what you were saying with power imbalance. Um, and kind of like with what I was saying that if that person is taking care of everything, he definitely or she definitely wants the power over you.
I totally agree. Um, what else would there be? What else would you have in common? You have one person who's learning life, which is the teenager, and then you have one person who already knows it
Uh-oh.
and is influencing the other person. I can hear you, Rizal, so you can keep going. I can hear you.
Oh, wait a minute, we back.
Yes.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
Number two, this is a negative consequence of the age gap, emotional and brain development gap. We mentioned that briefly. Teenagers are still developing, especially when it comes to decision making, controlling their impulses. You have somebody who's 21 years plus, they typically have more emotional regulation and some would say how to think things through, like critical thinking. When you have a teenager, you know, we depending on our parents to do that for us to really.
And then too, I'm sure there's a lot of immaturity on that person's part. You know, they're still going to act young because they are young. They're still going to do young things. They're not going to have the right mindset of what you think that they should because you're in a different place than where they are. So they're not thinking like you're thinking. They just want to have fun.
Exactly. Exactly. Number three is increased risk of grooming. We briefly talked about this. They they build your trust in them so that they can gain control of you to get you to do the things that they want you to do. It says that they start saying stuff like, "Oh, when you hear this, oh, you're so mature for your age." or or people my age don't understand me like you do. How does a 16-year-old understanding your grown butt? Like,
I don't understand. Like, even I'm the age that I'm age, there's a matter of fact, how old is she? 33? There's a 33-year-old. She loves talking to me because she loves the wisdom that I give her. Because even at her age, she acts a little immature. Uh-oh, are you frozen?
no, I'm not. I feel like depending where you are in life, what you have been through in life, what would make you attracted to, especially especially someone in their teens. Like I'm thinking of, I'm using a teenager 21 plus versus, having a 10-year gap in a relationship with somebody who's a full adult. Like, what is going on in your brain that you would even be attracted to? Especially, some would say, oh, yeah, they would. He used to call me his little sister growing up. He would tell everybody I was his little sister. Then, as I got 18, and now he's telling me how beautiful I am, and then next thing you know, they start dating, and you're like, what? Wait a minute, hold up. So you've been watching this little girl the whole time. Like, that's gross. It's gross.
See? You think I'll be playing when I'll be telling you that these men be putting women on layaway. He had her on layaway for years until it was time to get her off layaway and go in for the kill.
It's gross. It really is. I when I was 19-year-old, it was this 36-year-old. He was a bus driver. He drove for Pace. I used to work at the mall. I worked at North Riverside Mall. And I would get on the bus and I would, I'm 19. I would have my little short skirts on and whatever. And I would get on the bus and he would flirt with me. And, I'm 19. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, how old are you? He's like 36. I'm like, oh, wow, he's this 36-year-old flirting with me. So he would come to the store and meet me at the store on my lunch. And he would offer me money and stuff. And I'm just like, this guy is 36 years old. Like, I don't know what he sees in me at 36, right? So he would buy me lunch and stuff, give me money, and then then it led to, all right, I've been buying you lunch and giving you money. What you gonna give me? It was time for him to recoup what he had been giving me, right? And I'm like, well, what is it that you want? He wanted sex, and I was like, yeah, that's not happening. So guess what happened? I got on the bus. And there was another girl sitting at the front of the bus in my place, and he was doing the same thing to her, grooming her so that he could get sex. I was like, wow. Now, what if I had gave it to him? It probably would have been the same way once I gave it to him. She probably would have still been at the front of the bus on a different day.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I've heard that a lot of women that like older men tend to have daddy issues. Either not have a daddy in their life or they tend to have some sort of daddy issues that lead them to wanting to date an older man because they either miss that type of relationship with their dad that they didn't get and they serve as some type of father figure in a way.
I never got that one. Even on what's that show? They come on with the girl Latrice. She's real young, beautiful, and she's dating the older guy. She calls him Zaddy or whatever it is. Like a huge age gap right there. But to your bus driver story, they say what one woman don't, another woman will. So
Man, I'm telling you, she was right up there with her little short skirt on. I was like, dang, he worked fast. I just went on to the back of the bus and sat my butt down. I was
it must be
like,
something about that 19 and 36 age thing right there. Because I was 19, she was 36, you was 19, and he was 36. So it must be something about 19 and 36.
I don't know.
I'm gonna put them numbers in the lotto.
I was like, wow.
We just gave y'all two numbers to the Powerball.
Really? Well, let's talk about something serious. Let's talk about really quickly the legal consequences. In many states, including Illinois, relationships involving minors and adults can lead to criminal charges. You having to register as a sex offender and long term legal consequences. Even if the teen consents, the law may not recognize it. Trust me. I work in probation and I have seen a lot of sex offenders come through my caseload, our caseloads, and they said, oh no, they consented. It's just that their parents didn't approve, and it's.
Yeah. What's the two rapes? The statutory rape and what's the other rape? Yeah, they could get you for that
But
rape.
now you're sitting here having to register as a sex offender for the rest of your life. And
That's the worst thing.
and now you having to not be in so many feet of a school, or some people not even being able to be around children from this age to this age. Like it has some of them has long consequences. Some people may have to register, maybe it's 10 years. Some people, depending on what the crime was, they may have to register for the rest of their life. So wherever you move, you have to register for the rest of your life. And you're on a sex offender database, which anybody can look it up. So if we're moving into a neighborhood and I want to see who the sex offenders are on the list, so that I know and I can show my daughters, oh, if you see this person, be careful because they are a sex offender.
Man, who wants to be living like that for the rest of their life? Like, you can't even do much. You can't be around. Are they even allowed to go to a music park with all the kids?
No. And a
Oh, yeah,
lot of
nah.
them do go undercover, living in like trailers, hotels, and stuff like that because people run backgrounds and they don't want to rent an apartment to someone who's a known sex offender.
Your whole
So,
life is ruined.
yes,
But then
because
society treats you a certain way now.
yes, yes, yes. So a healthy relationship is one where it helps you grow, right? It's not one to where it's rushed, where you're being controlled, where you're being confused, where you're being manipulated. Mm-mm.
Yep, that's healthy.
No. So, really quickly, because we got to wrap up. We're past 7 o'clock already. So, how to protect yourself and identify that you're in this red flag relationship when it comes to an age gap. Pay attention to people who are trying to fast track you, almost like love bombing you in a way when you're in a relationship, right? They trying to hurry up and do things with you really, really fast while you're in this relationship so that you don't have time to think about it, right? They're moving fast emotionally. They're talking about love. They're talking about commitment. They're talking about being exclusive early. And they're saying things like, oh, you're different from everyone else that I've been with. It's not romance, but it's rushing your boundaries so that you don't have a chance to think. But ask yourself, what's the hurry? Why are we in a hurry?
As for driver's licenses and birth certificates, that's the best thing you could do.
You know, ask those questions. And then listen to the compliments that they're telling you. Are they really compliments? You know, you're so mature for your age when you hear that. I don't seem to deal with women or men my age. It's just too much drama. You understand me better than adults do. Those are all grooming languages, not compliments. And then think about a relationship being in secret, or they putting you in isolation, right? If they said, don't tell your parents, people wouldn't understand us. Let's just keep this between us. Those are major red flags. And a healthy relationship does not require hiding. So if they're asking you to hide, if they're asking you to conceal it, then you already know that something's not right. Something is not right. Then ask yourself, what do they gain from me? Right? What is this person gaining from me in this relationship? Are you getting money from this person? You know, they have a card, experience, you can do things with them, depending on what those things are. Ask yourself. It's going to be a relationship imbalance because you're going to be dependent on this person to do some things that you really can't do for yourself, or you shouldn't be doing anyway.
Yep.
And one thing to do is to stay connected with people that you feel safe. You stay connected with people that you feel safe. You talk to people, your parents, a mentor, a coach, friends that, keep a good friend circle, and then not letting somebody become your whole world. Because remember, isolation, it keeps you vulnerable. And nobody knows what's going on with you because you've been asked to keep it a secret.
It's just the point that they go through with it.
And if it feels uneasy, trust your gut. Trust your gut. You may like them, you may be excited because they're older and they can do all these things, and you feel like, ooh, I feel like a grown up. If it feels uneasy, don't dismiss your gut. And then watch their patterns and not their words, right? A lot of times people's actions don't line up, right? Do they mostly date young people? Do they avoid people their own age? Do they get defensive when you question them about it? Because patterns reveal people's true intentions. And then you yourself should know the legal lines when it comes to dating someone. When it comes to dating someone, if you're 18 and they're 21, okay, that's legal. You're 18. But if you're 16 and they're 21, come on, like, use your brain and be like, something's not right about that. That's an imbalance. Think about it. Go ask your parent, hey, I met this guy, he's 21, I'm 16, and he's interested in me. Is it okay? Is it a problem if I date this person?
Hell yeah.
And if it's hidden, if it's rushed, or they explain things a way to where, you feel like, and you don't feel safe, hit the brakes. Hit the brakes. All right, because this was interesting. Let's
It
wrap
was.
up.
I wish we didn't have the audio thing going.
I know. I wonder. Hold on. Let me see if I'm able to play really quickly. If that's okay with Wanda. I just want to see if I can play the video.
So Boys to Men was liking little girls at the height of their career? Well, not all of them. We only got documented Wanye Morris, but all of them thought it was cool and was kikiing. Roll the clip.
That's why they called you Squirt.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, Brandy even said in her behind the music that you broke her heart because you fell in love with somebody else.
I mean, you only fall in love with somebody. You only fall out of love with somebody else if somebody makes you fall out of love. You know, so if that was the situation, if that's what she said, then
That's political. I like that.
I can't, you know.
They were saying she was really young when y'all dated.
Yeah, she was. Not that young. Not
God,
not
this
not
dude.
jailbait. No, that's why. But hold on. That's why I stopped it. Hold on. But that's why I stopped it and said that she wasn't that young, because I don't want y'all to think Boys to Men was no.
She said she was.
I was young too.
She said she was 15 and she had to keep it a secret because she was so young.
See, we did the thing. We did the thing when she was like 16, 17, around that time. You know,
so you were still a boy too. You
I wasn't old.
You
I
wasn't too
wasn't
many
like
yet. You was
38
boys.
years old now. Like I was old enough to. She was old enough to get it.
But was it legal in the state y'all was in?
I mean, we was always in different states.
They had a nomad relationship.
You know what I'm saying? We just, you know, we didn't do it in the states that it was legal. It was illegal in.
Nice.
Got you.
Political.
No. It was, you know what I mean? It was a time. It was a relationship. It grew and it ungrew. I guess you could say that.
Ungrew.
Squirted and it unsquirted.
It squirted. Even unpackage all that right there. I want to read to you a definition and then Brandy's words from her memoir. Shall we? Ephebophilia is the preference of an adult from mid to late adolescence, specifically those who have reached or near physical maturity, but below the legal age of adulthood. Often, the adolescents are aged 15 or 16, but in some cases, they might be slightly older. Ephebophilia is a complex and controversial subject. It really ain't that controversial to me, you know what I'm saying? You like them little girls. Listen, it raises questions about the age of consent, social ethics, legal consequences, and how a lot of y'all is lost in the sauce of the same hubris that Jeffrey Epstein was doing, flying people around the states and hoping that you can discursively get around the law. Brandy described him as a music mentor who weaponized her admiration and says they first encounter, type of encounter involved him getting what he wanted from somebody that was too young to recognize and that she was being used. For those in the back, informed consent is an agreement that is freely given by someone with the maturity, knowledge, and autonomy to understand that they are agreeing to and the consequences. A 16-year-old navigating fame under the guidance of a 22-year-old mentor is by definition operated with a limited capacity of informed consent. By definition, and you know I gave you the word for that. In a 2021 live stream, Wanya maintained they did not begin dating until she was of legal age, claiming her parents were a part of their relationship and allowed him to guide Brandy. Yeah. The definition for grooming is a deliberate process where an older or more powerful person builds trust, emotional dependency, and secrecy with the younger or less powerful person to exploit them, often sexually. It frequently involves mentorship, gifting, giving flattery, assuming a protective role before giving boundaries, and guess what? Even being a protege mentor. Remember, everybody in the studio laughing, including all the members of Boys to Men, or at least all three of them that was on there. Peep how he go from describing his relationship to Brandy as a friend, protege, saying her parents allowed me to guide Brandy and help her through the career. How does framing the adult minor sexual relationship as guidance function as a grooming tactic? When Wanya joked and said he didn't do it in the states it was illegal in, it revealed how somebody treats the statutory age of consent as legal loopholes rather than boundaries to protect children. And now we're talking about the Epstein files. In 2021, Wanya publicly said, there is no lie going on here. You can ask Brandy, she will tell you the same story. Now Brandy has told her story and it directly contradicts his. How should we evaluate his earlier confidence? How? The Epstein files revealed a network of powerful men who exploit their access, wealth, and fame to prey on little girls, while the entire ecosystem of assistants, managers, media looked the other way. What are the structural similarities that exist in the ecosystem that allowed for Epstein to exist in the 1990s music industry that allowed for grown men to secretly date 16-year-olds, superstars, and plain sight? Rest in peace, Aaliyah. Stating this clearly for the folks in the back, Brandy's case did not involve trafficking or criminal network, but the Epstein revelations taught us the exploitation operates on a spectrum from criminal networks to normalized industry culture. Next time y'all start talking about protecting the kids, next time y'all want to start talking about these old files, remember all the ways we are complicit in those practices, and think about all the ways that Brandy had to sit in her discomfort when they was on the Breakfast Club, when he was lying on these live streams. Think about that. A lot of y'all gonna be like, man, this ain't right for him. What about her? What about her and her family? How her kids got to hear we talking about this?
So, final thoughts, Rizal.
He just said a whole mouthful.
I know.
He just gave me my whole thought and everything.
Are those your words of wisdom?
My words of wisdom: leave them little girls alone. It'll keep you out of jail.
I like that. And just know that tonight wasn't about judging, it was about understanding. Because on Warriors Talk, we talk about being aware. Awareness starts the conversation, but action is what actually protects us. So anybody who truly cares about you, wants to protect you and your future, is not putting you at risk in any kind of way. You guys, thank you for joining Warriors Talk. Join us next Monday on Intellectual Radio at 6 p.m. Right here, co-hosting with me today is Rizal, aka The Biz. Warriors Talk is changing lives, one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady Rochelle. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady Rochelle on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on intellectualradio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady Rochelle, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.